Hey you guys, it is your AP and welcome to Beauty with AP. If you've followed me long enough, then you know that I've been doing beauty content for the last 3 years. And I used to make videos on YouTube and I used to post them here on the site. And then something happened. YouTube just changed. I was never a huge YouTube vlogger in that sense that I was making gobs of money or anything like that. But I felt like it was a great space, a safe space for me to start exploring beauty in the community. And there were all sorts of things happening that I had no idea about. And all of a sudden, it's just like it dried up. And people stopped watching YouTube videos. And then it's like shift to TikTok, shift to Instagram, shift to this, that, and the third. And like, it's really hard to squeeze makeup content into 1-minute reels because people want bite size, or these social media apps are like pushing the algorithm so that they're only showing like the small short clips, and it's like, that's not the beauty content I want. Like, yeah, that's fun, it's cool, but that's not the content I want, and it's not the content I want to create. And I'm sure there's people out there who feel that way just like me. So I decided, Alicia, AP, you have this whole blog, like, use your site, it's yours, and then I don't have to worry about monetizing on somebody else's terms or driving traffic or any of that stuff. Like, I could just create here safely, put the content out that I want to, and not worry about it. So with that being said, welcome to Beauty with AP. It has been a long time since I created a full makeup tutorial video that's more than a real bite-sized video. So I am nervous, but I am excited to be embarking on re-exploring makeup, trying new products, and doing what I love to do, and doing it on my terms, and not worried about keeping up with whatever demands TikTok or Instagram or any other social media app puts on us because they have some machine to feed. Like, I'm good. All right, so with that being said, let's dig into what I want to do today, and that is play with some neon colored loose eyeshadow powders. It's something that I've wanted to try out for a while now. I don't know why I haven't. So I just ordered some that I found on Amazon. I will link it down below. I don't believe they were that expensive. It's 8 colors that come in this box. So let's check them out. All right, so we've got orange, purple, we have a pink, we have blue. Oh, this blue is speaking to me, but mostly because I have on like blue today. Not the exact shade of blue, but let's just call me inspired. We have green, yellow, some sort. I mean, it kind of looks orangey to me. It's a darker orange. I don't know why we have 2 shades of orange in here. 3 shades of orange. Maybe like orange is it when it comes to neon. But there are 8 colors in here, and we're going to play around with the blue and the purple, I think, to try these out. So let's get into it. This is my official first Beauty with AP. I'm going to walk you guys through my whole process. And if you decide to stick around for that long, good. If you don't, meh, what do you know? So we're going to start with priming the face. I've been heavy into like hydrating primers lately, like Milk Hydro Grip, which I obviously need to refill. ELF's Jelly Pop Primer, which I obviously need to refill. And I also purchased a jelly primer. Not a jelly primer. Well, it's like a hydrating primer called Journey, I believe. Giorni, that I got off of Amazon, because despite me being a person who tends to get oily a lot, I have found that while my body is going through these hormonal changes after weight loss surgery, with the acne, as you guys can see, I have some scarring here. I want things that are going to nourish my face, and maybe intentionally trying to dry it out is not the best option. But also, I tried a primer from Wet n Wild that is supposed to do both mattify and hydrate. So let's make a decision. I'm just going to go with Milk Hydro Grip because I really do like it. Plus it gets sticky. And I think ELF Jelly Pop Primer is an awesome dupe. But I might as well use it, right? I spent $30-something on it. I might as well get the most out of it. So when I prime everything. Eyelids, forehead, nose. I know a lot of people would disagree with that, but I do anyway because it's just what I'm comfortable with. I am not telling you that this is the best way. It's just what I do. So my next step is going to be to set my brows with the NYX brow glue. I don't fill my brows into the end, but I like to set them in advance so that like the glue has had time to like rest and get kind of not super sticky, but like hold the brow in place, so that by the time I'm finished doing my look, we're ready and set to go. This is pretty good stuff. I've used a lot of brow gels and glues, and I'd have to say that this is probably my favorite product to use. I also tried brow soap wax, which isn't horrible, but I just feel like I like the NYX brow glue consistency better. I've actually seen some people do actual Elmer's glue. I'm not about that life. I think in a pinch, if I had nothing else, that would be what I would use. But no, I'm not going to do that. All right, so next step, I'm going to take a Black Opal Cream Pot Concealer just to carve out my underbrow. And today I'm going to be using two different concealers on the lid. One is going to be this, and this is just to do the carving out of the shape of the brow. And then I'm going to use white because I want to make sure that my pigment pops. And using a lighter shade of concealer would do that. I prefer white. There are some people who actually use lid primer, and I have some, but I found that it didn't really do any better than a matte concealer. I'm going to take a old concealer brush just to blend that out, so it's not any harsh lines, and I want to be able to have a nice clean smooth base as possible to get started with the eye look. So I've been debating on what I want my my transition color to be. I did Google. I saw some that were black. I saw some that were brown. I saw some that were mixed. So we're going to try both. I'm going to try a brown and a black. So let's start. So this is an oldie but goodie. This is my Earth palette, but it has a black shade in there. So I'm taking a smaller blending brush and I'm tapping in. I try to go easy with black because it can get messy real fast. It's just one of those pigments that if you put too much on, blending it out becomes harder. So I try not to do too much. And then I'm just softly blending around the eye. So now I'm going into the AP Young Essential Palette. This is a dark brown that I use a lot, but I'm going to go in with the lighter brown because that's how I've seen it done. And I'm just taking a blending brush and blending right into that black around the outer edge to soften it out. Alright, so I have just a plain white concealer from Revolution Makeup, and I have a flat, small, if you can see that, brush because I want to be able to have precision and control while I'm doing this. I don't want it to get too messy, and I find that using a smaller flat brush as opposed to using the wand is better. So I'm just going to dip this right onto the wand, and I'm just going to cut where I want it to cut. I know everybody has different methods to doing that. I just eyeball it and start where I feel like I want my crease to be. Okay, so I let it dry down a bit so that it would be what I need it to be, which is in place and not wet and sticky. And I'll be honest, y'all, I really don't know what kind of eye look I'm doing, but we're just going to get straight to it. I'm going to open up this blue. And so it's kind of like a setting powder deal where like you spin it, which I never understood these things, and then like you sift the powder out. So let me do that. And I don't know why I thought loose powder would be so much different than pressed powder, but I just wanted to know. I feel like when it comes to mattes, they can tend to be more, oh, that is pretty. Some of them can be really chalky and not very pigmented. So even when selecting my own eyeshadows for AP Young Beauty, my brand, I always tested out stuff to ensure that it would be really pigmented and not patchy. So I will say this is pigmented, but it already has like the patchy application. I'm just patting it on. I'm not smoothing it, just patting. Now, with that being said, I don't think it's terrible. I think it's the shade. So like blues tend to do that. I know I'm making a mess all over my face. Don't judge me. So I'm just going to pack right on top and tap in until it's nice and even. If we can get it even. I don't know. Can y'all see when I'm talking about the patchiness? Yeah. So I'm really disappointed at how patchy this is. And I really don't know how to correct it. I don't know how to correct it. All right, back to the drawing board. I'm going to try again. So I recut the crease. I'm going to try the purple and see if the texture is the same, if this is a formula issue, or if this was just the pigment itself, like the shade it is. Let's try it. This feels like it might be better. All right, so that was much better. The color payoff, and it's getting sunny. Like the sun is starting to shine a little bit more. So sorry for the inconsistency in lighting, but the color payoff is much richer. Not a patchy application. So I really feel like it might just depend on the shade. So I'll be interested to see when I try the other shades, the lighter shades, if I run into that same issue that I did with the more pastel blue. But I like this, and I just want to give it a little snazzy wazzy razzle dazzle, you know. So I'm going to go into the Dazzle Me palette and use some pressed glitter and apply it to the crease. So I'm going to just take my Duo Lash Glue to help with the adhesiveness here, and I'm just going to go ahead and paint the crease because I really want it to stick and I really want it to be bold and show up, and I want more control over how the glitter lays. I've been trying to like adjust because of the sunlight, but I ended up adding a little blue glitter to it. I don't know what I'm doing. It's just been such a long time since I just sat down to create and play around in makeup. So this is fun for me, and I'm glad you guys are here to join me, and maybe you want to try it out too. So now the eyes are done. I'm debating on whether I'm going to do eyeliner or not. I'm going to use a liquid eyeliner for this because I feel like I have better control over the application, and I feel like it might do better on the matte. I do have a pen, but I just felt like, let me do this because I feel like it'll glide better and I won't have to tug or pull or anything and potentially compromise the shadow application. All right, so I had to change the view of my camera so that you guys could see that sunlight was like, okay. So now we're going to get into skin. I did like wipe up with some cleansing cloths, the excess shadow. So I reapplied the Milk Hydro Primer Grip Hydro Grip Primer in those spaces that I cleaned out. And now we're going to get into skin. So, as I mentioned to you guys, I have some acne scarring. I had a really bad hormonal outbreak after weight loss surgery. I'm still contending with it. So I do a couple different things to cover up. Recently, I bought this ELF acne fighting foundation. The shade was wrong, but because I'm having like a minor breakout here, I'm going to put it on like a protective layer. Does it have any efficacy? I don't know. Are we going to find out sooner or later? Yes. So I'm going to put it on, and I definitely put on too much. But I'm just going to put that on over the outbreak spots and see if that helps prevent like any crazy irritation to my skin. We'll find out. I'm going to be using, I woke up like this, El Maquillage shade 1. Well, this says shade 165, so this is the wrong shade. I'm going to use 170, well, 195. 165 works when I haven't been in the sun, but I've been in the sun a few times, so I'm going to use the darker of the shades. I pump it onto the back of my hand, and then I use a stippling brush, and I'm just going to tap, especially in the area where I applied that acne fighting foundation, because I don't want to disrupt it by rubbing it in. And I'm just going to start applying along the jawline, cheekbone, and all of the places so I can get a nice even coverage. And I really be tapping for dear life, y'all. And I'm going to work my way around the face and do the same here. I gotta be honest, it feels weird to be doing this on camera and like talking and explaining, because it really has been that long since I did like a full-on makeup tutorial. I got so discouraged, y'all. Like, I got so discouraged, and I just felt so like, is it even worth it? But it's what I love to do, so I'm gonna do it. Now I'm just using my jumbo beauty sponge, which I love. I got it off of Amazon for like $3, I think. It's huge. It's a good face one, but it blends so nicely. It's really soft, and it helps, you know, absorb that excess foundation, in my opinion, which can often leave the face looking more dewy and hydrated than maybe you want, at least for me. And I just do this as an extra step to kind of like make sure everything is seamless and nice. And I love the El Maquillage because you see how nicely it covered up my dark spots. Like, it doesn't require concealer. It's a great full coverage foundation. Although I'm really like disappointed because I had really started veering towards using skin tints more and light to medium coverage, because my skin was popping. It's not popping anymore. I've been humbled by life, and that's okay. I want to take care of my skin in the process. So I'm actually going to be going to see an esthetician soon, and I hope that I'll be able to share that journey with y'all as I do it. So now I'm going to take my ELF Caramel Concealer, and this is Maybelline Fit Me. I use 2 different shades under the eye to brighten and conceal. Gotta be honest, I don't know what the shade is here, but bear with me. So I'm going to hit the inner corner. Okay, and the outer corner here. I've seen so many debates online about whether the dot method works, and there are some people who just still hold on to that triangle method, but I am a huge fan of less is more. Like, I cringe now trying to watch some beauty gurus or, you know, bloggers, because like they're still using incredibly way too much product. It's a waste. It's a waste. And I'm just like, I don't want to waste my money like that. So I'm definitely was going to be the less is more gal. So if you're coming here and you're new to me in beauty, well, there we go. I'm not going to drag the concealer all over my face. And I also feel like, why are we putting on that much concealer over foundation? Like you might as well have just concealed your face and skip the foundation, which some people do, which makes absolute sense. And we're going to highlight the forehead. Yeah, I was trying to give you a cute little heart. Here we go. It's a little crooked, but and these are all the places on the face we're highlighting to draw light to the center of the face. The sun is really coming for me, y'all. It is really coming for me. So now I'm just going to use a concealer brush and start to conceal. Now, for some people, they prefer bronzing first, concealing second. I feel like I'm the opposite because it gives me more control. And then as I'm bronzing or contouring, I can blend it down a little bit better than I would doing concealer first. All right, so let's get to this under eye. Under eye is like my favorite part, just to watch my sadness and my sleepless nights disappear. Is like watching magic, although I don't believe in magic, but it's like watching it. And again, I tap in. I don't do much rubbing, and it gives you more control on how you bring the product up. And the point of lifting up is to snatch the eye up, not drag it down, but to give it a nice little lift, which is another reason I don't do the whole dragging of the concealer down the face, because again, why are we highlighting the entire face after we put foundation on? So I'm going to use my True Complexion Contour Palette by Black Radiance, and just take a brush. This is some pretty pigmented powder, which I love, so you don't need a lot of it, and it blends in really nicely, and I feel like I have a lot more control over it than I do using liquid. I do sometimes like cream and liquids. Like, I guess it depends on the mood I'm in, but I really prefer this powder. And when this runs out, I'm probably gonna replace it and get another one. I did have the cream version of this too, and I liked it, but I bought this one kind of by accident. I thought it was the cream version and it wasn't, but then found myself really, really pleasantly surprised by how well it did. So I just stuck with it, and I've been using it ever since. So before I apply blush, I'm going to use my Maybelline Fit Me Shade 30 to start to kind of set the highlighted areas and blend in any harsh lines of demarcation. And again, I'm just going to use my big sponge because it just works for everything as far as I'm concerned. Probably one of my favorite investments that I've made makeup wise. And I gotta tell y'all, like, I really haven't even shopped for makeup. Like, it's really been that kind of a time. And I probably need to, because I have old foundations in here I need to re-up. But I also want to live a minimalist life. So I only want to buy like one foundation, maybe two, like have a hydrating formula and maybe one matte. And not over like crowd my drawers and stuff, because it's just excessive. And if I'm not going to use it all, like, what do I have it for? So maybe I'll do a makeup overhaul and record that and let you guys see how I organize. And I'm thinking about getting new drawers too. Like, I want a different look. We'll get into that. So Get Me Blushed palette by AP Young. I'm going to go in with this shade of pink, because I think that would be cute. As the girls say, it would be given. No crumbs left. She ate. No. Let me stop. I cry every time I hear that reel when they talk about how Gen Zs talk nowadays. And it's hilarious to me because we had lingo. We had language when we were younger. Do I remember what some of that stuff was? No. Has language, the lingo definitely changed with the youth? Absolutely. I just find it funny. I'm now like one of those people who is like, oh, the younger generation, like I'm turning into my parents, and that is not something I ever envisioned happening for me. And then I'm going to use a cream highlighter, shade 3, which is like a copperish color, and then blend that down. Let me do this side, maybe that's better. So sunlight isn't hitting over here like it is over there. Now I have to turn this way so I can look in the mirror to see what I'm doing. Hopefully it comes out nicely so that y'all can see. Remember, we set the brow early on in the makeup stage, so that this, ooh, that's a lot of, and I'm just using short strokes to brush through the brow to mimic short brow hairs. And kind of shaping it as I go to follow the natural arch of my brow. I don't believe in like creating crazy arches or anything like that. Like, I don't want to look like a villain. I want to look like myself, just a little snatched. Which, you know, to each his own with brows for people, that's like always a huge debate in the beauty community. I've never been a fan of like the big, thick brows. I kind of do like the wave brow a little bit, like the fluffy brow, but my brow's too thin. They don't be trying to give what it's supposed to give with that. So although I've tried it a few times, it's not a method that I use often. So this is my go-to, which is just brush through, short strokes, mimic brow hair, clean up as you go. And I use a brow pomade, as you can see, and the brush. And I'm just going to use my spoolie to like brush through this a little bit so it's not harsh and it's really just as natural looking as possible, just more defined, and a little filled in because I do have thin brows. I'm going to use my Black Radiance mattifying setting spray. Setting spray is just one of those things that I feel like pulls the look together, helps blur everything. I'm just going to take my beauty sponge and just tap it into the face to help it absorb. I learned that from Jackie, whom I wish would come back to makeup, but I understand her need to want to move on to something different. So as much as I miss watching her on YouTube doing makeup, I do recognize and respect she's doing great and fabulous things with lifestyle content that I can't afford and can't relate to. All right, so lashes applied. Sun's still being a hater. We're going to finish out with a nude brown lip, and I'm going to fill it in with a pink gloss. And voila, we are done with this look. I threw on Regina to give it a little extra oomph, but this is the makeup look for my very first Beauty with AP, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I cannot express to you guys enough how much of a big deal this is for me to come back to something that I had just gotten away from because I let other things get into my head. So if I feel awkward or obnoxious on camera, my bad. Or maybe you always thought I was, and that's okay. But this is me reacclimating myself with something that I stepped away from. So hopefully, as I continue to create content for Beauty with AP, you guys are here for it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.